I take so much comfort from the fact that you are also engaged and so dedicated to taking on these huge challenges. I have a lot of faith that we'll find solutions with your energy and dedication. Why do you want to be a planner?
I learned about the field of planning after reading an excerpt from Mike Davis's City of Ports, and I just realized that this is the field that helps shape the environments that in turn shape our lives and us. I think it's a very exciting field to be in, especially right now.
The reason I want to be a planner is I've always been interested in government and politics, and I studied political science as an undergrad, but the classes that really grabbed me and really animated me were the classes on urban policy and planning adjacent classes. So I would like to be a planner to put my imprint on my community and on other communities and do what I can to make communities better for the people that live in those communities by listening and working with those individuals.
Just in my own personal reading and academic reading, I was always most engaged when it addressed planning, and I didn't even know it. And then through the Civic Spark Fellowship this past year, I actually got to meet different planners and learn about the ways they work with and engage and empower communities. And I think I'm just really interested to be a part of building equitable communities, but also seeing the transformation in how you engage and work with, especially through this time of like virtual engagement.
I just really do want to make a difference in communities, especially in climate change and just building resilient communities. I just want to make sure that communities and people can bounce back and work together.
It seems like there's a lot of opportunities for like collective advancement and development, like innovative ideas, smarter cities, mixed use, transit-oriented development. And I think there's a lot that, the communities and people can gain from building smarter and better cities. So I'm very excited about entering into the field and learning more about the profession.
How do you hope to make a difference? Like, what do you want to change in the world as a planner?
I do think that government has a position of having to, we have to represent everyone regardless of political orientation, especially local governments. So I think that often leads to compromises that don't really work for the most vulnerable communities. And I personally think that what I'd like to see and help bring about is community provided solutions for community problems. And so I think that returning back to smaller scale institutions, I personally really I'm excited about community land trusts, but other institutions like that I think is the way to go personally.
I think that form of expanding opportunities for lower income communities particularly is really, really important, and that's why I really enjoy the work that I do.
What I hope to affect as a planner, mitigating disparities and trying to prevent the worst from happening.
Or implement other measures, just so that everybody has equal access to livelihoods and recreation and the things that we need as a society.
Thank you very much, and I hope you have a wonderful time at the conference. Share your opinions and thoughts and hopes for the profession. We're really hoping that this conference gives an opportunity to help APA California figure out how we can support you all moving forward and make sure that, again, we can address all of these huge challenges. So thank you.
Aren't they great? Hi, if you have not heard me say it yet, my name is Julia Lave Johnston, and I have the honor and privilege of being president of the California chapter of the American Planning Association, the largest APA chapter in the nation. Hanson Hom, our vice president for conferences, will tell you more about the folks behind the scenes who made this conference look easy, but I want to thank Hanson Hom. He is a rock star. I think Hanson spent 30 hours a day on this conference over the last 6 months. I promise you that is not an exaggeration. So let me thank all of you who have been sitting behind your computers, juggling your jobs and your family with conference attendance. Your engagement, asking questions, participating in our network activities has ensured that we haven't missed out on the best part of this annual conference, which is connecting with each other. We have had several important conversations over the last 3 days. I hope you feel both challenged and inspired, because we're just getting started. As Dr. Pastor said in our first big conversation talking about racism and addressing systemic racism, he said it's like going to the gym. If you do it every day, it gets easier, but you can't just go in January. You have to show up in February and in April and October and after that as well. We heard from a lot of people how we could do better as individuals, as a profession, and as an organization. They told us we need to listen, engage, be bold, be empathetic, collaborate, challenge the system, think differently. We need to diversify APA California, including the leadership. We need to not follow the existing rules. Planners should humanize our work, be humble, and bring the soul back to a soulless system that values profit over people. We need to admit that we have contributed to systemic racism and that system still exists, whether we like it or not. There might have been a time when I would have tried to defend the profession, the organization, and myself. But acknowledging that we can do better does not mean we are bad or unredeemable, or that we are not good planners. Because we also heard that we are service-oriented, that we care about people, that planners are stewards of democracy. We heard that as improbable as it sometimes seems, that planners have power. Let's learn to use our power so we can make a difference. We can rewrite the rules. We heard that planners are problem solvers and that the future belongs to problem solvers. I know that some of you are tired, disillusioned, uncomfortable with some of these issues. I think we all feel that way sometimes. But those young planners that you just saw, they think the future belongs to them. They don't know any better. Let's not tell them. Let's tell them that this is a unique time in history and we can rethink our organization and the profession, and they can help. That we can find solutions partnering with our communities and other organizations and really make a difference. And we can make the world a better place. And then let's all start believing it. Tonight after the conference, write down 5 things that you plan to do to be a leader. As president, and soon to be past president, I will continue to fundraise so we can offer the state's implicit bias training free to all of our members. I will work to develop a statewide mentorship program to support the next generation of diverse planners. I will work with the board to build relationships and trust with community-based groups and grassroots organizations and to encourage our sections to partner with groups in their communities. I will continue the work that we have started on distance education so that all of our members, no matter where they live, have high quality, affordable membership services. And I will continue to open my mind and my heart and try to understand how I can be a part of the solution instead of part of the problem. Starting tomorrow, let's all do more than plan to lead. Let's be leaders. And now, speaking of leaders, I want to introduce you to your president-elect, who will be taking over in January, Ashley Atkinson.
Thank you, Julia. I just want to check that you can hear me and hopefully also see me. Let me know if not. Speaking of breaking the rules, I am unable to use a Zoom background on my devices, so I thought I would treat you all to my actual background, which is lovely, as you can see. And speaking of bridging generations, today is actually my 40th birthday, so I'm happy to celebrate it all here with you at the conference, but also treating myself to a bit of a break, as you can see. But very much excited to be a person who hopefully is bringing the organization closer to some of the conversations that we've had today about the ways in which our younger generations would like to see us change, and the ways in which many of us, feel and understand and have come to learn that we do need to change and evolve both as an organization and as a profession. I heard a lot of the same things that Julia mentioned over the course of the last 3 days. Call for, reflecting on our past, calls for giving ourselves better tools, calls for stronger voices with our legislators and our electeds. And most of all, what I heard is a call to action, that we love to talk among ourselves, and this conference is one of the strongest ways that we have to build community. But as Julia said, our next task is to take what we've been talking about and what we've all been reflecting about these past 6 months and really bring it to the level of doing. And that's something that I'm committed to as president-elect, taking office in January. Be working with Julia to follow up on many of the things the board has been working on so far this year, but also looking ahead to seeing the ways in which we could do more, the ways in which we can make sure that we are the support organization that all of you need to do the great things that you have in mind to build out the future that all of the young planners just spoke of. I'm somewhere in between, I guess, the jadedness of an older planner and the optimism of a fresh graduate. One of the things that resonated with me most out of the speakers at this conference is someone who took a moment to reflect on the fact that human nature is built on kindness, and that's actually one of our essential qualities. And that really stuck with me, something that we can continue to build on and think about in our practice, being kind to ourselves, being kind to each other, and how we can use that as a kind of a grounding principle in everything we do and carrying that forward into next year. So with that, I would like to thank you all for participating. Again, looking forward to being a partner with you in the changes you would like to see in our organization and our profession in the next 2 years. And with that, I will turn it over to our Vice President for Conferences, Hanson Holm, to wrap us up, echoing Julia's thanks for all of his hard work. Without him, this literally would not have happened. So with that, Hanson, please join us.
Yeah, thank you, Julia and Ashley. Boy, I feel like I'm losing my voice too. But I thank you very much. You know, obviously this conference could not happen with so many folks involved and dedicated hours to make this conference a success. I want to start off, however, by first thanking everyone who registered for this conference. Otherwise, all the effort we put into this would have not been fruitful without your attendance. So thank you so much for opening your minds to a virtual conference, and hopefully you found this conference beneficial and you know, a successful use of your time. So thank you very much for attending the conference. Also wanted to certainly thank our sponsors. You know, your sponsorship of this conference, we're so proud that you have made us part of who you are, and we were committed to making sure and that our sponsors, that we show the support to our sponsors that you provided to us. So thank you very much for being our sponsors, and we hope that we'll continue this sponsorship relationship in future conferences. Finally, I really want to thank our conference planning committee. I mean, you know, when we decided that we had to go to a virtual conference in May, quite honestly, we don't have 3 months to plan this conference. We didn't know what direction it would go. And I'm so proud that with all the volunteer efforts that went into this conference, in 3 months, we've kind of organized this conference with, you know, over 100 sessions, you know, over 300 people were involved in making presentations in one way or another. Just a whole community of planners and other professionals that's come together to contribute their time to make this a successful conference. I further want to acknowledge the dedicated staff. They spent hours supporting the committee, implementing everything that we needed to get done to make this conference a success. The technical side of things, registration, working with the sponsors, you know, the programming of the conference just goes on and on. The mobile app. I mean, I could probably spend another half hour just talking about all the work they've done. And last but not least, our volunteers, the volunteers that step forward to help us do the technical side of things of making this conference a success. I used an analogy that we did the general plan, but they did the implementation, and the implementation is essential for the success of all the work we've done. I wanted just to, maybe just, if I may, just a closing comment. I know that a lot of discussions have been talked about the challenge of going to a virtual platform, all the technology challenges, and how to really make this a truly networking event in place of our in-person conference. But, you know, I think a bigger challenge for us this year was what happened this year. You know, we came along planning our conference in Riverside as we typically do. But then we had two major events happen, obviously, the COVID-19 and the George Floyd and other murders. And that, as a committee, that posed a challenge to us. It wasn't business as usual. We felt we really need to step up and talk about this issue, incorporate useful and compelling content into the conference that really addresses issues head on, and recognize that as planners, we've contributed to the current problems we face, but even more importantly, how can we, moving forward, help be a part of the solution to reduce the disproportionate income, impacts, the disparities in our community. I think we have an important role in doing that, and I'm hoping the conference provide a really good dialogue around this issue from a planning perspective, and provides us with energy and the strength to move forward to make our communities a much better place to be. So I'm really proud of the fact that, if anything, that we have succeeded, I believe, in providing a good dialogue on these issues. And I hope you agree that that dialogue was very useful from a global standpoint. So with that, I just wanted to just say a couple of other closing comments for your information. First of all, most of the sessions are recorded, as Julie had mentioned at the beginning of the conference, and you will see that in the conference app, for those who are registered, the join the session button has been replaced by recorded session. So these recorded sessions will be available for you to view until the end of the year, December 31st. So I think that's a real benefit. We've gotten a lot of positive comments about the fact that that's available, and that's certainly a bonus from even our in-person conferences. And secondly, we'll be sending out a post-conference survey to get your input on this virtual conference and future conference planning in general. So please take an opportunity, no more than 15 minutes, to provide us that really valuable input that we really would appreciate having at the conference. A final note, a plug to the Riverside Conference Committee. They were an immense, whether they want to acknowledge it or not, they contribute immensely to some of the core sessions that we provided at this conference. So I want to give a shout out to the Riverside Conference Host Committee, and also encourage you to attend the conference next year in Riverside. Hopefully we can have a conference, but the date is September 11th through the 14th. And finally, we have two concluding events for this conference, and we really encourage you to please enjoy these two remaining events. First, coming up at 5:30 to 7 is the planning trivia. Should be a really fun event. It's going to test your knowledge. If you took good notes during the conference, we'll test your knowledge about conference knowledge and other general things. And as you heard an announcement that we moved the 2020 APA California Awards program from the 12:30 slot to 7 o'clock. So now we've moved the event to prime time TV. So that will be from 7 to 8:30. I wanted to also let you know that a recording of the awards program will be available, because we realize that some folks are not able to maybe view this at 7 o'clock. But please stick around after the fun trivia planning event and watch the award winners this year for 2020 APA California. And with that, I want to just close. And again, thank you, all the sponsors. Thank you for your attendance. Thank you for all the volunteers. Thank the Conference Host Committee. And yeah, general thank you. We'll see you soon.